By the time Alan Derian graduated from high school, he had been featured in the Boston Globe for composing numerous pieces for orchestra and jazz ensemble, including 2 symphonies. Alan Derian is currently scoring the CBS drama Madam Secretary and has scored 60 feature films, as well as working in TV, games, and multimedia in a variety of genres, including drama, comedy, action, and science fiction. Alan, what's your approach to composing?
Well, for me, composing has always been about emotion. I started playing piano when I was very young, and soon after that I started writing music. And it was always about that I wanted to express something through my music. And so when I moved to California with the idea of writing music for film, I always identified with the emotion that was coming across on the screen. And that's what was always most important to me, to try and create some emotional context through my music that complemented what was happening on screen. And as I approach every project with that idea, I'm always looking for that message to come through.
What was transitioning into composing scores for television like?
For me, I got into television opposite of the way most people do, because most people work their way up and they start in television and then they move on to feature films. But I started out doing mostly feature films and have done over 60 films of various genres before ever getting into television, and then worked with other composers in TV, doing TV movies, before I started working on Madam Secretary. So it was the reverse of everyone else, and it was different in that films have a different timeline. There's usually anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks to work on a film, and it's much more collaborative in that you're working with the director or filmmaker and really trying to create a language for that particular film. Whereas in TV, once that language is established and you have the themes of the show, it's really off to the races, and every week you're trying to come up with a score that works for that particular episode and brings that episode to life. So they both have their unique challenges, but I find both very rewarding.
Alan, what does your Armenian heritage mean to you?
Well, Arsha, for me, I'm a 2nd or 3rd generation, depending on how you count, Armenian. My grandparents came here from Western Armenia and were all survivors of the genocide. At the same time, where I grew up, my brother and I were the only Armenians in our elementary school. So while my grandparents and parents always reminded us and taught us about our heritage, among my peers and friends, it was never really an issue. To me, we were just Americans of Armenian descent. And it's actually only been since moving to LA and meeting my wife and getting more involved with the Armenian community does that question even come up for me, because it's something, it's part of who I am, and it's something that it's sort of like saying, well, what does being a man mean to you? Well, you've always been one. So I always find that question difficult, but at the same time, I always think about the lessons that my grandparents especially taught me, because they faced such adversity and so many challenges in their childhood that as a child, both my parents and my generation never had to face. So whenever I think about any problems I'm facing in my life, I'm always reminded of, well, you know, when my grandfather was a teenager, he saw his father get killed. And my grandmother survived the burning of the city in Smyrna. She was there and almost got killed on the dock when they were trying to rout out all the Armenians. So that's important to me. And just the idea that the Armenian voice is unique among the world, and that we bring a special experience to America.
Did you ever wonder what kind of work Jackson Pollock would be creating today if he were still alive? According to art critic Ed Harker, one answer lies in the style of an emerging Armenian artist, Narine Isajanyan. With work that is expressionist, minimalist, and conceptual by turns, whether on canvas, paper, board, wood, or actually made of metal, her pieces are consistent and organic as a whole. Narine Isajanyan has received prestigious art awards and has showcased her artworks at various exhibitions. Narine, thank you for making me part of this beautiful creative process. You know, we can go on and on and on, of course, because, I've read your biography and your exhibitions and your success story is really impressive. But I would like to kind of shift from the professional Narine Isajanyan to a loving wife and a mother. When you met your husband, was it love at first sight? Both of you creative artists, and you have this beautiful family. How did it all start?
It all started in one of the opening. It was a group show I had. I donated one of my pieces. So, yeah, the first time we saw to each other in the galleries, and it happens.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Yeah. I look back. It could not happen. So everything came to that point. So we are going to be together.
It was destiny. It was destiny, and you have a beautiful son, very talented. I'm sure he inherited the genes from the mother and the father.
Yeah, he's very talented. Everything comes from centuries, which is, I think, meant to be for me to give to people the energy, the power, the feeling, whatever I have through my art. The important thing to deal with everything, what's going on around you, and try to bring that into your creation, to try to show where am I, what I have around me. That's why I use everything natural.
For advertising on Insght TV, please call 818-653-0199.